Hi and welcome to another Leeds Guitar Studio video. Today I'm going to talk about perfect fourths tuning. It's something I get an awful lot of questions about, particularly from students, other guitarists mostly, and on gigs. The most, well, apart from what gear, strings to use and all the rest of it, other than why has your guitar got 7 strings, it's the question I get asked the most, so I thought I'd just make a video and be done with it. So I've always tuned in perfect fourths, and for those of you that don't know, perfect fourth means that you tune consistently across the instrument without the kink, without the break in the tuning that standard tuning normally has, which of course is between the G and the B string, where it's tuned to a third. Now, so basically I'm going to just talk about why you would want to do this as opposed to standard tuning. Okay, so for me it started way back in the mists of time when I got this copy of Guitar Player. This is pre-internet, you know, so, and even Guitar Player, much less any of the other magazines, were fairly hard to get. So every little snippet of information, you know, to work out for yourself. I remember figuring out all the Malmsteen stuff by ear. You know, nowadays you just get on the internet and it's there, but in those days, you know, everything that came along, you suck it up. So I found out Stanley Jordan tuned in fourth, and of course he was doing all this business, you know, I'll see if I can remember it. It's about the extent of it for me. And, you know, I tried the transcription, of course, because I played piano, I wasn't that interested. But the fourth tuning, the instant I tried it, I thought, well, that's it, you know. It made total sense. And coming from a background as I did of playing guitar, obviously playing violin and piano, where obviously in a violin it's tuned in fifths and there's only 4 strings and they're all tuned consistently, and then of course the piano, every octave's the same, they don't vary. It made total sense, and the more I got into it, the more I realised that standard tuning really, for most stuff on the electric, doesn't make an awful lot of sense. There's a reason for standard tuning, and it's a good reason, but it's more to do with the acoustic instrument, and particularly, you know, the way sort of average guitarists would tend to play the instrument. So well, basically with perfect fourths, you know, whatever scale patterns you play, doesn't matter where you start, it's always going to be the same. And on the 7th string, actually, it's quite nice because it works out you more or less got 3 octaves in one spot without moving. And of course, if you're running arpeggios, so it's always, which is nice. But more importantly, on a musical level, it means that whenever you're working with an idea or a theme, which of course if you're improvising you should be, unless you're just noodling, then, you know, it's much easier to manipulate an idea in real time and shift it around the neck and play it wherever you might need it. So I mean, the little tune at the head of the video was it Techno Bombastica from the first Jazz Gorillas album, and that has a little tag thing. To say that's your idea, then it's always the same. And of course, if you want to manipulate the idea, develop it, you know. Anyway, so you know, it's just generally thinking musically around the neck and improvising becomes a lot simpler. And you know, you've only got one set of shapes for everything, rather than, you know, standard tuning. You essentially, for just say major or minor triads, you end up with 3 sets of shapes. So for each, you know, so a root position major, root first, second, root again. You know, that's the same all over. And likewise your arpeggios. So, you know, everything's remotely complicated. Yeah. I think that's how it goes, yeah. Nines, too light. So that's the upsides of standard tuning, and to be honest, perfect tuning. And to be honest, there's not a lot you can't do in perfect tuning that's written in as standard. I mean, the reason standard works the way it does is because, apart from unifying the top and bottom strings, it means you've got a minor triad if you bar across the top 3, and then the relative major to that across the next 3 down. And that's great for, you know, sort of playing standard guitar stuff, you know, sounding like everybody else. And you know, it enables all that kind of stuff, which is cool, but it's nothing you can't do in perfect tuning. And of course, the other upside is that you don't run into the intonation and tuning issues that putting a third into the tuning, you know, brings up. It's very, you know, perfect intervals are great for tuning too, because they're either wrong or they're right. You know, there's no kind of grey area with a perfect fifth or a perfect fourth. But thirds, very subjective. Everybody hears them differently, and you know, that's why people have trouble just tuning a G or something on the acoustic instrument. And again, you know, that's why very often you'll tune the instrument and E will be in tune, E major will sound fine, and then of course you play an A string, A chord, and of course the major third is now on the string that had the fifth, and it just sounds wrong because, you know, the B was in for that relatively to the E string, the low E, and that's fine, but of course it doesn't work very well across the rest of the instrument. I always regard the acoustic guitar as a completely different thing anyway. Most acoustic guitarists are playing in so many different tunings, you know, it's just, you know, they're not in standard any more than they're in DADGAD, so, you know, what's the difference? So basically that's perfect tuning for you. You know, it makes life a lot simpler if you're trying to improvise and discuss musically ideas and shift them around. And of course, yeah, chordal playing as well, greatly simplified. So if you're looking to do something different and interesting on the instrument, then that's the way forward. And try it, you might like it. Notably, most of my most gifted and advanced students have, you know, adopted perfect fourth very quickly, and I don't push it. And they just see it and go, oh yeah, right, I see, and they're off and running with it. And I mean, interestingly, a lot of the people I teach via Skype, a lot of them are, you know, advocates of perfect fourths and have sort of sought me out for that reason, and notably all from America, interestingly. Anywho, so next time you see me at a gig, don't ask me about my tuning, watch this video. Cheers.